Hello again. So the theme for this weekend's films seemed to be movies that I really had no intention or desire to see, and yet I did anyway. And again, I've said it 100 times, I'll probably say it 100 more. That's one of the good things about doing this, is I get out and I see things I hadn't expected to see. My best friend Matt, who, if anybody was watching the live thing I did just beforehand, he wanted to see it, so it's like, what the hell, let's do it. I don't mind. He's seen a lot of shit that I wanted to see, in the years we've been friends. So this one is kind of weird to come into because you're coming in on a film called The Final Chapter, which, let me tell you, though, that title should be really in quotes, because I mean, yes, they call it The Final Chapter, and yes, technically they wrap up everything, but I mean, they leave that door so wide open for more sequels. It's it's pretty shameless. But anyway, I've only seen 2 of the Resident Evil films. I've seen the first one and the second one, both of them over at Matt's house. And I was never a fan of the video games, mainly because I remember when, I'm going to date myself here, but, I remember when video games were about colorful plumbers jumping up and down on mushroom people and fighting, turtle dragons, not, flesh-ripping zombies, but, that's beside the point. So never a big fan of the games. I was never a big fan of the movies, but, so I'm kind of the wrong person to review this, because this is obviously not a film series for me. And you're coming in at the last part, so I mean, reviewing a film this deep into its run, I mean, when you're 6 movies in, if you're a film series that has, I think, more than 4 sequels, I think once you hit number 4 and you decide you're going to go past number 4, I think you enter into a weird dimension where you're no longer kind of judged by your merit as a film. You're judged by how the film fits into the other series. Because by this point in a film series, by number 6 in a film series, you already know if you're going to go see it or not. I mean, obviously, if this thing has had 5 previous films, you already know as a fan if you're going to go see it. If you liked all the other films, you're going to go see. You already know what the story is, and if not, why are you there? Unless you're like me and you went because a friend wanted to see it, and you were looking for a film to review. So it's like, all right, why not? So I'm not the best person to kind of talk about this film's merits. So I asked Matt, I wanted to get him on here. One day I will get him to do one of these reviews. His basic belief is that he felt it was a good final entry into a film series. If in fact this is the final entrance into this series, that the story, these are his words, that the story, such as it is wrapped up pretty nice. The characters get their natural resolution and everything, it puts the bow on it. So I do agree with that. I think that this film does a nice job of, if this is the last one, if they decide they're done with this, they end it in a good way. But they leave that door, like I say, that door is so wide open that if they decide they want to come back and do another one, or do a spin-off, or do, a prequel, or do anything like that, it would make logical sense with what they set up. So I think that was pretty smart of them. So let's take this from the point of view of, if you're like someone like me and you only have a cursory understanding of the world and all of that. I think you can go and see this film and still enjoy it. I think that they do a nice recap at the beginning of the film to make sure you're up to speed. Most of the plot details and whatnot, I think that's the good thing about a film series like this, is that the plot, such as it is not incredibly complicated. That's something I like about movies like this. This is a good thing you can say about movies like this one, Underworld, Fast and the Furious, any of these multi-sequel picture franchises, is that they keep the plot relatively simple. They're not trying to be something else, at least not in most cases. I think Fast and the Furious sometimes tries to get up its own rear end with all its talk on deep metaphorical talk about family and loyalty and all that blah. But for the most part, they know you're there to see fast cars driving fast. The Underworld, you're there to see vampires and werewolves fight. This one, you're there to see a hot chick fight zombies. That is what it is. That is what it delivers. And, it doesn't try to weigh the plot down with, moral ambiguity or, the characters, questioning their own existence. They don't try to, make it deep. They know what this is. It's a fairly cheap film series. I mean, it's a series that has been going for some time, 10, 15 years, something like that. And, not the highest budget films. They're there to make the studio a quick buck while you eat your popcorn. I mean, they're not trying to be the Marvel films or Pixar or anything like that. They're just trying to be some mindless escapism and some entertainment. And it does that really well. I think the whole series has some good action scenes. The zombie creatures and monsters are fairly original and neat looking. Mira Jovovich, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, I think knows her limitations and has a film series directed and written by her husband, so I mean that's partially how, that plays to her strengths, and I think she does a good job. She carries these movies really well. She carries this one really well. So this review is kind of hard because all the things that I would normally tear a movie apart for, it doesn't feel right to tear this movie apart for, because again, these movies you can't really judge by the standard of other films. You've got to judge them as they work within the realm of their series, and I think within the realm of their series, this one works fairly well. There's a couple things that I do have a problem with that I think are issues. Number one, the film, first of all, is like 90% fight scenes. And that's fine. Again, for a film called The Final Chapter, you're kind of going in saying, okay, we've set everything up. Everybody who's going to come see this movie knows all the players. They know all the pieces. We don't have to take a lot of time having discussions. We can just go and have some really interesting and unique fight scenes. And that's all well and good, but here's the problem. The fight scenes are done in that new style, which people are doing, and I really hate it, that really fast cut, fight scenes. They don't hang on any one image. I would say if they're going long, they don't hang on any one image or any one cut for longer than 3 seconds. And there are some that they hang on for like a second, and it's so rapid and so quick cut, that there were a couple times during the movies I had to shut my eyes because it was hurting my head. The rapid cutting, it didn't let me, it never pulled back and gave us just like a wide shot and hung on the wide shot for a while. We didn't get to see any of this really neat fighting. And from what I could tell from the quick cutting, it looked like the fight scenes were fairly inventive and exciting looking and fast paced, but if your eye can't focus on anything, then how do you know? And they do that again. One of the things, again, that I said that this film series has always done fairly well is that its monster designs have always been pretty cool. A lot of them lifted right from the games, and, so they've had some pretty cool creature designs. But again, the fast cutting makes it hard for you to really get a look at some of the designs of these creatures. That may have been by design. That may have been on purpose. Again, because these are not the highest budget films, so it could be that fast cutting was done so your eye couldn't linger on the special effects for too long. But at any rate, I think it did a disservice because you couldn't focus on anything. You couldn't enjoy the fight scenes. And like I say, maybe it wouldn't have been so bad if maybe one of the fight scenes had been done like that, or if the fight scenes had been spread out a little bit and had some things in between to let your head rest. But they didn't. Like I say, the movie is 90% fight scenes, so you're just like, please, my head, I can't take much of this. So that's an issue. Another thing I gotta say kind of annoyed me about this, but in kind of one of those laughing ways, and again, I don't know if this was done on purpose, it's kind of a joke, is that it has, as every monster movie has, it has its cast of expendable side characters. And one of whom is a character from one of the other movies, from what I understand, but the rest of whom we're just now meeting. And that's fine and dandy. But the thing is that this movie is so bloody blunt about the fact that these characters are expendable. And how do I know that? Because it took forever for them to tell you some of their names. Some of them, they didn't even tell you their names. And so therefore, they're trying to cook up all these unique death scenes for these people, and you don't feel anything because you have no idea. One, the action goes by so fast, and two, you have no idea who this person is. I mean, I walked out of it going, okay, let's take a moment and mourn the loss of all the other characters. There was tomboy engineer girl, black guy, beard guy, other beard guy, vaguely Hispanic guy with the skull sword who didn't like Alice at first, but then did like Alice for some reason. Some other guy that I don't know when he got killed, but he did at some point. It's like, who the hell are all you people? And again, as what I can remember from the first Resident Evil film, I mean, it had its cannon fodder characters. Every horror movie has its cannon fodder characters. You just go into that knowing it. But the fun thing about a really well done horror movie is that you don't know who's going to get picked off. And it seems like in this one, they kind of knew going in. Everybody knows the only person who's coming through any of this is Alice. So they don't care about these other characters. We don't care about these other characters. Here's just some vague other characters. Don't get attached because they're going to die pretty quickly. And they did. And you're just like, all right, well, I don't know why I should care. You clearly don't. So yeah, so that was something. Also, this film loves its jump scares. This director loves his jump scares. There's like 3 of them in the first 4 minutes of the film. It's like all right, we can let's try to find something else to do here. But again, I don't know how many of these complaints really register, because if you're in a film called The Final Chapter, you've already come and you know what to expect. You know what this is. So all of these nitpicks and whatnot, they're not trying to be new and inventive. They're just trying to wrap things up. Give you one more bag of popcorn before going, okay, maybe now we'll move on to something else, which, again, I seriously doubt they're going to do. So, yeah, forming an opinion on this one is kind of hard for all the reasons I've already laid out. So I'm going to try to kind of sum this up. Again, not a Resident Evil fan of the movies or the game. Not a fan of zombie stuff at all. So I don't like zombie movies. I don't like zombie TV shows. I just think zombies are boring, and I don't know what this obsession with them is. So there's that. And someone who has only seen 2 out of 5 previous films. So all that taken into account, the end result of this is, it was all right. I mean, it was a fun. I think that this movie did what it was supposed to do. This movie was a fun time out with my best friend. We laughed, we hung out, and we saw a crappy action film. I mean, I don't think this offends anybody. I don't think this is meant to be anything deeper. I don't really think it's I don't. Again, it's not trying to be. It's not trying to be a Return of the King or Return of the Jedi or Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 or any of these things that are trying to end their series with some kind of big momentous event. It's just trying to wrap up the very, very, very basic storyline it has, and go on. So from that perspective, and Matt's basic words, I think if you liked the other 5 films in the series, if you've been one of those people that have gone and seen them all, or you've got them all on DVD or whatnot, then you're already going to go see this one, and you can probably have a better judgment of it than I can, being kind of ignorant of the whole series. So I don't know if I'm being helpful at all. It was okay. It was, again, nothing I would have gone and seen on my own, but with a friend and just kind of chilling out. Yeah, basic okay-ish fun. Kinda. I don't know how much fun it was, but I think I will say this kind of I said it already before, but I'm going to kind of reiterate it, mainly because I'm almost home, but not quite, so I'm just trying to stretch this out so I can turn the camera off at a safe point. Which I just realized I don't know why I need to do that. I can edit it out. Anyway, I'm rambling. I do think we need to give a lot of credit to Mira Jovovich. Movie Bob said this in one of his reviews, and I think it stands echoing. I mean, this is a long-running, fairly profitable action-adventure series with a female lead. And from my memory of the series, she doesn't fall into any of the female horror movie tropes at all. She's a completely self-reliant, independent character, and I think you don't see a lot of that. And I think this one really flew under the radar. She's not even, at least not a lot. I don't feel she's not even that over-sexualized in these movies. Maybe you could make the argument that in the first, I think 2, she's wearing like a tight red dress and combat boots. But I don't even think that's that exploitive. Personally, maybe I'm wrong. But I think that's a pretty big thing, and nobody really gives the film that credit for that. And I think she again knows her limitations. She knows what she can do, and she does a really good job in these films. I think she carries them, and there's a reason why there have been 6 of them. So that's really all I have to say about this one. If you liked the others, you'll like this one. If you didn't, don't bother. And yeah, that's it, folks. I got nothing else. So until next time, drive safe, and I will see you at the movies.